Welcome back. Let's see if we can tackle some of the other questions that we had. Who asked about Boeing? Oh, Polly asked about Boeing. Polly, if we look at the chart here, and remember this is also a weekly chart, this is almost the same as we've seen before, the sell-off of the corona, then the stock starts to find its feet. Now you see a high, lower high, a lower high, a lower high, and we're on the brink of giving a beautiful lower low, and that is negative. If we see a lower low on a stock, always remember that the company can maybe surprise you, and it can go even below this low. And where's the next support? Let's have a look here. There's the next support. There you are. And the previous low was around here. And there you are. Let's have a look here. If the stock breaks this little line here, then it can go to 117.73 and maybe even as low as 96.19. So for me, I'm a little bit nervous. I will say I want this scenario to change around, and the stock needs to break. Let's just have a look here. Stock needs to break to make me now excited, and the reason why I'm saying that, stock make me nervous with this lower lows. Oh, but it's a long time. We cannot wait for 241. Long time. So I will say, let's wait for a little bit more of a consolidation here, and then we can see what we will do here. I think you may be preempting the stock, unless you want to wait for the stock to reach for these levels, and then you maybe use the low here as your stop loss. That's maybe an idea. But I've just heard over the news, I think a few days ago, company still struggling to find its feet. Well, let's have a look at Yum Brands. Elfie asked about Yum Brands. Let's have a look here. Yum Brands, there you are. Let's have a look what Yum Brands. Well, Yum Brands had this beautiful rally, Elfie. And I mean from this all the way to the downside, and gave a beautiful rally. Now it's also seeing a tiny double top. Look at it. That makes me a little bit nervous. If I draw this line in, right, there you are. There's a top. There's a possible double top, but it will only be confirmed below this line. But the moment the stock is maybe only trying to find its feet, and it can maybe break this up at 97.17 and give us another move, because what's nice about it, if it breaks there, it will also turn this line. If we, let's just draw that in. If it breaks above this line there, then it will turn this line into a definite support with a beautiful new higher high. But on the other hand, if it breaks below this line, it can maybe go all the way to the downside. So, Elfie, I will say wait for confirmation here. It's also one of those stocks that it's trying to find its feet now. We've seen the rally now after the market this last 4 months. And now the big investors must decide if they want to buy it and it can go higher, or is it going to break below this support line and go even lower. And one thing to remember about stocks and even charts, remember this reflection that you see here is nothing else than what we can say the mood of the informed investor. I usually look at weekly candlestick charts. This is a line chart. Every week it closes at a certain point, and then you can see where it closed. But if you think about it, that was the low, then a higher low, then a higher high. What does that mean? That actually means that as the investors started to buy the stock around here, in actual fact, I think traders bought it here. As investors bought it around here, they became more and more optimistic about the future of the stock. And that's why you see this rally. And always remember that stocks usually look for 9 months plus ahead, especially on a weekly chart. So if the stock then gives a nice move above this, let's call it resistance line, you can then imagine and say, okay, but some of the informed investors, they believe that the future prospects of the company will be more positive than what it is now in 9 months' time. So just keep that in mind. It just makes it a little bit easier. Well, let's have a look at Barrick Gold. I mean, Gold stocks were the favorites of this year. I mean, everybody just loved the gold stocks, and it rallied like you can't believe. Now, if we look at Barrick Gold, it's still all the way to the upside. I think a few weeks ago we warned about this lamp pole formation, but it looks like the stock has no end to it. It's almost on the brink of giving us a brand new high. But I'm sitting with my viewpoint here. I'm worried about this lamp pole formation. Now, I think what will happen here is we'll get to a point when all these cyclical stocks, growth stocks, and these favorites of the technological stocks, they will come under pressure, and then people will move over maybe to, let's call it, the strong value stocks. And the reason why I'm saying that is some of these value counters that's been hammered, and they in proper bear market territory, where these stocks are flying up in the sky, and that for me personally, it's never a healthy position. But, I mean, if you look at this is a rising wedge. The rising wedge tells us that the momentum is still up. But I will say, let's wait at the low of this. If that breaks, then apart from the rising wedge that will break, I think it will maybe give us a little bit of a downside move from there. That will be below 26.61. Why do I say that? You can just imagine, early March, the stock was trading at 15.54. And it's now trading at, let's call it 29.20. So you must keep in mind, when the stock starts to take out the low, there will be plenty investors, and we sometimes tend to forget that. Remember, to get a stock higher and higher and higher and higher, you always call for new money. So that means, as the stock goes up, you need to have less sellers, more buyers, and the buyers are prepared to pay more for the stock. What will happen if it turns around? If the stock turns around, you'll probably see that there's more sellers, less buyers, and what does people do that they sell if they're happy with a profit? They just give their broker an instruction to say, sell. And if they trade on an online platform, they will just say, sell at market. So that can easily cause for a sell-off. But remember, all stocks needs new buyers, push the stock higher with less sellers. Well, let's have a look at the stock with the name of Old Mutual. Joseph wants to know about Old Mutual. Now let's have a look at Old Mutual here. There you are. Now this is one of the counters that I believe that is trying to find out where's the market price. So it wants to tell you the economy of South Africa and the share price are trying to communicate with each other. And this is actually for me a much healthier chart than a Barrick Gold or some of the other gold counters. Why do I say that? Because this company did show us that there's a corona, and now suddenly it sits with this consolidation band. You can actually say it's a little bit of a falling support line there. And on the other hand, you've got a proper low. Now, what I like about this, if you've got this, that means it's quite simple. If this band breaks to the downside, what will happen? It's either it's going to go down, or if this line turns into a support, it can go up. This is a better chart for me. Reason being, we're flirting with the lows. It's an easy decision. If it breaks below that, you just say, I'm sitting on the sidelines. I do not buy it. But when it starts to go up from here, and it breaks this line, then at least you know that the trend wants to change, and we can maybe see that the company is coming out of all these depths of selling. Because I just said that a lot of these old counters like that's reflecting some of these economies like financial institutions. If you think about it, Old Mutual was trading at 30 Rand. That is in September 18. This is a proper bear market stock. It went down. It's trying to find its feet now. If it goes lower, it's just going to remain in bear market territory for longer. But at least what you're seeing here, since 2018, we see that the economy sort of slowed down, and then we had this corona thing. So I always try to find a stock that's more or less realistically priced, so that I know what the economy tells me and what the share price. They never 100% together, but at least it gives me a guideline. Let's have a look at City Lodge. And we've seen a lot of requests on City Lodge because, remember, they came out with a rights issue just the other day. And stock is now almost the dumps at 3 Rand. Simple story here. It is just a case of waiting and waiting and waiting. And I will say, let's have a look here. You see a falling wedge here. There you are. There's the falling wedge. It's slowly but surely working in it. There's really no rush for me to go into the stock. Because, yes, it is low. Maybe it is undervalued. But I will say, let's wait for this resistance line to turn into a support. And that will only turn into a support above 448. If it breaks above 448, it can maybe give us this nice move up to that high there. And that will be at 6 Rand 25. The unfortunate thing, if it breaks below 234, it can actually still go lower. Now, I know people always say it is the time in the market that counts, but not timing. Now, unfortunately, if you were in the market with City Lodge, and you said it's the time in the market, look what happened to your investment. It was 36 Rand in 2018. It's now 3 Rand. Now, I wonder, in this case, if time in the market is the right thing, because I think you'll wait quite a few years to get your stock from 3 Rand to 36 Rand. So remember, all these things are relative. It's not always the case of time in the market, unless you are a 20-year-old and a youngster and you believe the company will never go under. But if you're at my age, it's maybe timing is sometimes a little bit more important than time in the market. Oh, thank you. We'll chat again. Visit www.fransdeklerk.com for more info, and we'll see you once again.